anxiety. And hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to make a close-up when I finish. I think I did that last time. Okay. So we'll have to break it down a little bit further because we didn't really get into too many definitions in the first video, so we'll break it down fairly quickly. Okay, so what are some traits or words that I usually associate with maybe rapid thoughts? Many thoughts? Could be a lot of ideas. Maybe you're worried about tomorrow. Maybe it's like milder anxiety, like tomorrow's the first day of school and you've got a little anxiety or going to the doctor or something like that. It's like mild. We'll also break down mild and maybe versus major. There could be some moderate, but we'll do mostly mild or major. So depression would be feeling down, about life. Maybe things don't have less feeling. Maybe something that you used to really like to do is no longer as enjoyable as it was, and sometimes that's the way it is, like normally, but that's like a constant. So example of mild would be like the goldfish. Alright, it's a quick goldfish. So maybe your goldfish passed away and you're down for a few days. That would be like a mild depression that comes and goes. I think everybody experiences, but the major would be more like a prolonged period. And I would say the major is something that would be a really long time, like you never feel like that you come out of that state, and that's the difference. But there can be small periods of like major where it could be like a couple days and then it goes away. Okay, but they're usually correlated. There's a connection, and it's almost like you cannot be, maybe you can, I don't know, maybe you aren't in the state of both, so you're going to either be in one or the other. And how we deal with it will be, let's start a new page. Okay. How we deal with it will be hopefully you can see that. Okay. So the question would be, what helps? And this is from my experience of discussion. Interests. Maybe you enjoy to talk about cooking, maybe you play an instrument. I would recommend playing an instrument. I think that's a really good thing to do. Check the timer. Okay. Talking about it. Maybe play an instrument, like the piano. play guitar, sing, chant, clap your hands, whatever makes you happy, whatever helps you break out of that state. So the question too is, say that maybe you had a more severe case of depression or anxiety. So each day, maybe if you could scale it out, 1 to 10, if you were even in the most difficult, let's say, situation, maybe someone had like a 9, 8, 8, 7, 9 for 5 days. Okay, they rated them highly. Okay, so something that I see right off the bat is that each day is a little bit different. Not the same. Not the same. So some days will be better. That's what I get out of this. Some days better. Like the 7. So they felt something different when they had a 7 and a 9 or an 8 differently. And even if it was like all 9s or all 10s, eventually it would be almost difficult to be in a constant state, even if it was like very great days, like maybe let's do the opposite. So the low end, maybe I'm really happy. So I've had like a 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, something like that. So really happy. Okay. And there might be a different range where someone has like a 6, 5, 3, 7, 4. Some type of range pattern. Okay. Something a little bit more normal rather than the extremes of both ends. Okay, so you have to do what helps you. You have to scale it out. The anxiety, the happiness, the depression. You have to realize that every day is not the same. Some days are better. So we try to think about, why were those days better? Why were those days worse? And the acceptance of the variation of feeling really, really happy or really, really sad. And so things that can help us. There's also breathing patterns. I do that sometimes. Talking about it, interests. And even when you go to professional help, really the word is discussion or communication. And then there's some things too that become more trust building over time. And then you can open up more, because it's not all at once. So it takes time to understand, open up, build trust. Check the timer. Okay, good. Okay, so that should help you in part 2. We'll make a part 3 here. And we'll talk about some of the causes in the next video, and other things that we can do to help cause and effect. Cause and other variables. Okay. Could be start the new video in just a second. Okay.